If phones and laptop computers can catch fire with smaller, less energy-dense lithium-ion batteries, just think about how dangerous it is going to be for high-energy density batteries in a vehicle. You pay more than 40% of the total price tag of an electric vehicle for its batteries, and these batteries could explode. But wait, Tesla is already marketing their vehicles as one of the safest vehicles out there. So is there any truth in this statement? Are electric cars actually safe? Well, that's exactly what we find out in this video. So make sure to stick around till the end to know more about how safe electric vehicles are and why you should consider an electric car as your next purchase, considering all the risks. Electric cars are now creating huge waves in the industry, not just because of how fast and fun to drive they are today, but more importantly, they are a lot more practical now than ever before because of a huge increase in the number of charging points, especially if you own a Tesla. Electric vehicles are also in high demand because people are now looking for alternative ways to move from point A to point B, considering the high gasoline prices and also the fact that these are kinder to the environment. We all know that cars are extremely dangerous machines, even though they don't look like one. That doesn't mean everyone is a bad driver, but if it is in the wrong hands, it sure can cause some damage. But sometimes cars themselves can be dangerous. It could be because of how they are manufactured, or it could be because of a certain component in the car that could make it more dangerous. Cars kill about 30,000 people per year in the United States alone. But we have already learned to live with the dangers of cars with internal combustion engines because the automakers have invested a lot into developing systems that will reduce loss of life, which includes better structural rigidity, better seatbelts, airbags, and so many other advanced driver assistance safety features. What makes these vehicles dangerous would be their weight, speed, momentum, size, and the fact that they have a full tank of gasoline, a substance that could just catch fire and explode. But this is not the case with electric vehicles. Purely electric cars are distinctively safer than cars with internal combustion because they don't carry any gasoline. Well, that's partially true, but we need to redefine what safety means when it comes to electric vehicles, because almost all electric cars currently use large arrays of lithium-ion batteries. And you know what? These lithium-ion batteries have a tendency to catch fire and occasionally explode. There are not many things that could go wrong in an electric vehicle other than batteries, considering the fact that these vehicles have fewer moving parts. We already have several documented cases of lithium-ion batteries in laptop computers and cell phones catching fire. Anybody remember the Galaxy Note 7? Yes, that's what we're talking about. However, when it comes to electric vehicles, the danger lies with the high energy density of these batteries. The amount of energy that's packed into each of these batteries is quite large compared to its size. This is also the reason why lithium-ion batteries have become the favorite for electric car manufacturers. To understand the entire situation, you need to know how lithium-ion batteries work. Cells come in different shapes and sizes. Lithium-ion cells have three key elements: a separator, electrodes, and electrolyte. Electrodes store the lithium, and the electrolyte carries the lithium ions between the electrodes. The separator helps to keep the positive electrode from coming in contact with the negative electrode. Energy in the form of electricity is discharged from the battery cell when lithium ions flow from the negative electrode, or anode, to the positive electrode, or cathode. It sounds simple, right? Well, the biggest potential problem with an EV lithium-ion battery would be something known as thermal runaway. Essentially, when one cell gets damaged and short circuits, chances are high for the flammable electrolyte inside the battery cells to ignite, becoming hotter and hotter as it uses up all the stored energy, burning in excess of 1,000 degrees Celsius. If this increased heat damages the neighboring cells, it can cause a chain reaction, where thousands of other cells will also begin to burn, which will then lead up to an increasingly fierce fire that will be extremely impossible to extinguish, and you will have to just wait for it to essentially burn out itself. These batteries used in your electronic gadgets or cars can also catch fire if they are improperly manufactured or damaged, or let's say that the software that operates the battery is not designed correctly. These batteries in electric cars also use organic liquid electrolyte, which are extremely volatile and flammable when operated at high temperatures. So during the event of a crash, some amount of external force will be applied onto the battery pack, which can lead to chemical leakage. Currently, we have 3 types of lithium-ion batteries. We have cylindrical, prismatic, and pouch type, and fundamentally they are all the same in functionality, but each of them has its own pros and cons. Cylindrical and prismatic batteries are encased in hard materials. Pouch type uses sealed flexible foils and are protected by thin metal bags. The technology used in cylindrical batteries is quite old, but it still yields consistent results. These batteries can withstand high internal pressure without deforming. They are also a lot cheaper, which makes it easier for mass production. They're slightly heavier, but the shape stops cells from being packed as densely as other battery forms. Tesla is a company that is famous for using cylindrical batteries in their vehicles. Then we have prismatic batteries, which are considered to be safer and lighter than cylindrical cells because they are angular and can be more densely packed. They also optimize space better compared to cylindrical cells, but they are a lot more expensive and have a shorter life cycle. The worst part is they can also swell. Finally, you have pouch-type battery cells that allow for lighter and cleaner cell fabrication and design flexibility for different capacities and space requirements for different vehicle models. But these are also vulnerable to swelling and more vulnerable in crashes, which pose a greater fire risk. General Motors and Hyundai would be using pouch battery cells from LG Energy Solution. Maybe Tesla was right with their choice to go with cylindrical battery cells, and the company also unveiled their new 4680 cells, which are supposed to have better performance. Then we have companies like Toyota developing solid-state batteries, which could minimize overheating issues and fire risk. But this battery technology could take another 3 to 5 years to commercialize, which means don't expect it anytime soon. The other problem in case of an EV-related fire in most countries is that firefighters don't even know how to deal with a battery explosion, considering the fact that these batteries are very well packed and there is nothing much they can do about it. Batteries are very well protected in a crash-resistant structure that's mounted as low in the car as possible. These vehicles are also equipped with safety systems that automatically isolate the battery in the event of a crash. But it's not all bad news. For anyone considering electric vehicles, several pieces of evidence suggest that these vehicles are as safe or sometimes even safer than conventionally powered gasoline vehicles, at least according to several tests conducted by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. The institute conducted half a dozen tests, including roof strength, collision avoidance, front impacts, and front crash protection on electric vehicles like the Volvo XC40 Recharge and Mustang Mach-E. Both of these electric models performed well. According to Highway Loss Data Institute, injury claims for electric cars are about 40% lower than for identical gas-powered vehicles, and that says a lot. This could be because electric cars are a lot heavier, as the added weight comes from batteries. From several studies over the years, researchers came to the conclusion that if you are in a heavier vehicle, you often have less force exerted on your body in a crash, and you're less likely to be injured. The measure of safety of any vehicle simply boils down to the number and type of injuries that are sustained during crash. Yet some consumers are still concerned about the dangers of electric vehicles, only because of the news that reports battery explosions. When you take a closer look at the crash data, it reveals that all the fires were the result of drivers running over roadway debris, and that directly damaged the battery cells. Generally, lithium-ion batteries are safe, unlike what others really want you to believe. But you still cannot deny the fact that these batteries do present a fire risk. But that risk is on the lower side. We have so many new battery technologies coming up, especially solid-state batteries, which look quite promising, even though nobody ever cracked the code of mass-producing these batteries. Nor do we have proper working prototypes. So the only option that we have right now is to stick with lithium-ion batteries.